Sometimes life tests us in ways we never expect. It takes away what we love, closes every door, and leaves us standing in silence, wondering if we're strong enough to go on. But what if true strength isn't about winning every battle, but not giving up, even when we're breaking inside? Tell me, have you ever reached a point where you felt completely lost? Like no one could understand the pain you were carrying? Stay till the end of this story, because it might help you discover the strength that's been within you all along. In a quiet seaside town lived a young boy named Ethan. He was kind, cheerful, and full of dreams. Every morning he would ride his old bicycle to school, the wind brushing against his face, believing that life was beautiful and simple. But one winter evening, everything changed. Ethan's father, a fisherman, didn't return from the sea that night. A storm had hit the coast, and the waves swallowed his boat. The next morning, the village was silent. Ethan stood at the harbor, staring at the horizon, waiting for a boat that would never return. He didn't cry. He just stood there, frozen, empty, and lost. Days turned into weeks. Ethan's laughter disappeared. He stopped going to school, spending most of his time alone near the shore. One evening, an old man named Mr. Rowan, a retired sailor who lived nearby, saw Ethan sitting on the rocks. Mr. Rowan walked up slowly, holding 2 cups of tea. Mr. Rowan: "The sea can be cruel, boy. But it also teaches you more than any school ever could." Ethan, softly: "It took everything from me." Mr. Rowan: "Maybe. Or maybe it's trying to give you something else. Strength." Ethan looked up, confused. Ethan: "Strength? How can losing everything make me strong?" Mr. Rowan, smiling gently: "When the waves hit hardest, you learn how deep your roots really are." Ethan didn't respond. He just stared at the ocean, the same sea that took his father away. From that day on, Mr. Rowan began visiting Ethan every evening. He taught him small things: how to mend nets, how to tie ropes, and how to watch the tide to understand the sea's moods. Sometimes they sat in silence. Sometimes they talked for hours. Mr. Rowan never told Ethan to forget his pain. He simply helped him live with it. One afternoon, as they sat by the shore, Mr. Rowan said, "Tomorrow, you'll come with me to the lighthouse. You'll see the sea differently from up there." Ethan hesitated, but nodded. The next morning, the two climbed the narrow stairs of the lighthouse. From the top, the world looked endless. The sea sparkled under the sun, that wild, powerful, and free. Mr. Rowan: "You see, Ethan, no one can control the waves. Not me, not your father, not even the strongest sailor." He placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. "Mr. Rowan, but what we can control is how we stand when the waves come." Ethan took a deep breath, watching the vast ocean below. For the first time, it didn't feel like an enemy. It felt alive, beautiful, and full of lessons. He whispered, "I think I understand." From that day, Ethan started to rebuild himself. He returned to school. He helped his mother at home. And every evening he still sat by the sea, not in sadness, but in peace. He began to see his father not as someone who was lost, but as someone who taught him courage through his absence. Weeks turned into months. Ethan grew stronger, wiser, and calmer. People in the village began to notice the change in him. He was no longer the boy who broke under the storm. He was the boy who learned to stand tall after it. One evening, a fierce storm returned to the coast, almost like the one that took his father. The waves roared, winds howled, and people ran to close their doors. But Ethan didn't hide. He grabbed his raincoat and ran to help Mr. Rowan secure the fishing boats at the dock. The wind whipped across his face, water splashing everywhere. But he kept going. tying ropes, holding lanterns, shouting directions. When it was finally over, the harbor was safe. Mr. Rowan, drenched but smiling, looked at Ethan. "You've changed, boy." Ethan, panting, looked back with a small smile. "No, sir. I've just remembered what my father taught me, to never fear the waves." They both stood there, watching the sea calm down again. Life is full of storms, moments that test our patience, our courage, and our will to keep going. But strength isn't something we find outside. It's something we awaken inside. Ethan discovered his inner strength not by avoiding pain, but by walking through it, slowly, bravely, one day at a time. You, too, have that strength within you. No matter how hard life hits, you can rise again, stronger, wiser, and more peaceful. So tonight, take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, "I am stronger than my fears," because the waves may shake you, but they can never drown your spirit. If you liked this story, share it with someone who needs a little reminder. That strength isn't about being unbreakable. It's about standing tall after you've been broken. Moral: true strength is not found in avoiding pain. It's found in facing it, learning from it, and rising above it.